I took a walk one street over from my home, cracked and broken asphalt everywhere. I could have ended up just like that broken road, with a dead in my path. Thank the Lord that I've got more than that. In this life there's nothing certain, set the curtain that rises to the stage. Sing it to second guessing. I won't call you less than I don't deserve. Wall Street over there's a life I could know would have kept me from one I love today. Wall Street over there's a life I could know.
Oh, good morning. Let's say hello. Hey, everybody. This is 1100 WSGI. I'm Neutron LaVern. And you know how I do? I'll sit here and I'll talk to my guest and forget to turn the mics on. And, you know, it's just, you know, I'm just saying hi and getting to know everybody. How you doing, guys? Again, 1100 WSGI. What's going on? One street over from where you living. That's what we're all about right now. And I've got a new friend in here, Benji Davis. You know, it's so funny. You even said when you sit down, I don't know how many people want to talk about gas this morning, LaVern, but I've had actually several people ask me about, now you're going to need to pull that microphone to you right in there. There you go. There we go. But, and you'll have to get right in there on that microphone. Gotcha. But, you know, it's really, I actually have some questions about the Springfield gas and all that, because even though I live in the county, I have Springfield gas. Correct. And I also have Springfield water. And I have to be on septic because I live right next to the wastewater plant. And that's, I don't want to hook up to the, I was advised when we built our house that you're awful close to the wastewater plant. I don't think you want to tap into our, you know, what if something happened, you know, and we're like, that's probably good advice. So we have septic. But we have Springfield City water and gas. And so welcome. So I have lots of questions.
Appreciate it.
I love it. Here. And but I've had several people recommend that we have you in because I know because we're growing. It's something that is, you guys have got the infrastructure. It's got to be something that's just a constant topic for you guys when you meet and you're planning and all of those things. Would you not say so, right?
Yeah, and most people, it's a very valid question because most people don't even know.
Right.
Most people think that we're just in the city of Springfield. They think, we're here, we don't go anywhere else.
Right.
We're actually out in the county, just like you talked about. Now, I know you're not very far out of the city, but
right.
We're in Coopertown, we're in Cross Plains, we're in Orlando. We serve parts of Greenbrier.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a lot of parts of the county that we're in that people don't even know. 30%, this is unscientific poll, but 30% or so of people that call us don't even know. The first question they have is, do I have gas here? They don't even know.
Huh.
I mean, they have no idea. So,
right.
That's part of why we're here today, is just to get the word out. And if people have questions, they can call us and we can tell them. And sometimes we do and sometimes we don't,
Right.
Like with anything else, it takes money to build infrastructure.
Right.
But we're in a lot of places that people don't know we are.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So it's kind of out of sight, out of mind kind of thing,
And I'm telling you, if you don't have gas in your home, guys, you just, I can remember there was a power outage that was pretty significant. I'm guessing last winter, maybe when one of the big ice times or something, we ended up not having power for an extended period because of ice storm and just all this kind of stuff. And I could post on social media, I'm popping popcorn and making coffee because I have gas.
Correct.
And I also had hot water. I love my gas power because it's just, I have a gas top stove that has flame. I don't have one of those glass tops because I like it.
Yeah.
I really like it. I like the way it cooks. I like and I don't have to worry about if the power goes out. I still have a stove. It's very nice.
There's certainly some huge benefits to it.
You better believe it.
Yeah.
And we have, I was just telling him, he was so funny because he said, I don't know how many people want to talk. I actually have several questions because we're in the process right now of doing some improvements in our home. We haven't done much in our home in a while. And so it was kind of getting to the point that we just really need to do some maintenance and fixing up and all that. So as we've been fixing up, I said, we have a gas fireplace in the lower part of our house that's always kind of been the little rec area. And I have always loved that. If the power goes out and it's cold, I can turn that on and I have heat rising up through my house. That's another thing. We didn't get cold because we had a gas fireplace. Well, I really want to bring that into my living room, which is right beside my gas meter. So it's been so long. We had that fireplace installed, oh my goodness, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago. It's been in there a long time. I don't remember the process. Who runs my gas lines? What do I need to have that done? I called Trent Cobb and I said, who needs to run? And he's saying HVAC people usually run them.
And they do. We kind of handle everything up to the meter. So wherever your meter is on the outside of your house, the underground part of it, if somebody wants a service, they'll come in, go to City Hall, sign up. We'll talk to them. I'm abbreviating the process, obviously. Okay. But anything downstream of that meter, anything inside your house, needs to be a licensed contractor. So there's a lot of those around. I don't know all the names of them, but yeah, there's a lot of those guys around that can do that. The one thing I would say is you might want to give us a call. Sometimes when you start adding things, your meter could be inadequate. Okay. So if you'll call, anybody can call the gas company, tell us, hey, this is what I'm doing. We can point you in the right direction. And it may be something like we come out and say, yeah, your meter's fine. Or, hold up, we may need to put a larger meter in. Okay. It does happen. It's, if you were putting in logs, it's probably not going to make that much difference. But for example, if you were putting in a standby generator and you had a pool and you want a pool heater kind of thing, that increases your load enough that's like, your meter's not sized correctly. We need to, because then it's not going to read correctly. Okay. So we need to put in a larger meter, but we can do that and point you in the right direction. So can homeowners do their own gas lines? They can't, unless they were a licensed contractor. We do ask that a licensed contractor do it. There's some things that they need to do, a pressure test. I mean, it is technically their line, but they'll have to go through the city and get a permit, which is not a overly difficult process. Any addition to your gas line has to be permitted. That's correct. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. That's good to know, homeowners, because so many people are like, I put it in myself. Yeah. And it's not that you can't, but it just needs to be, needs to be permitted. Yeah. Okay. And if you hire an HVAC guy, or company, they'll normally do that for you. Okay. Some of them do, some of them don't. It just depends on who it is. And, most of them do. They know the process to go to City Hall and pull a mechanical permit. Okay. I did not realize that, because so many things, I mean, just like if you're, changing your plumbing a little bit, a lot of homeowners will do that themselves, and they kind of think the same thing in gas, but that's different. I think the one thing about gas, it does kind of scare people away from doing that. A lot of them. Yeah. There are a few people that will kind of venture into that, but most of them are like, I don't know. I don't know anything about gas. I'm going to step away from that. I don't mess with it. I'd just rather hire somebody. So. Okay. Which is fine too, because we want everybody to be safe. We don't want any issues. That's the one thing I can remember. When we did not have gas. We were talking about, I'm from, the Mayfield, Kentucky area, and I grew up on a farm. And the only way we had gas is if they put it in a tank and filled it. Right. And so my mama eventually went to gas logs. And so they had to bring it in. They had to go and purchase it and bring it in. We do the same thing. We go down to Mexico and do mission work, and we have to have tanks filled with gas to have, that's how we do it there. They don't have the lines. They don't have the infrastructure for the utility. And so that's the only exposure to having gas in the house that I ever had. But when we were building our house, my husband was adamant, we're having gas, because he had it growing up and knew the convenience of it. Again, if you've never had gas in your home, power goes out, you still got heat, you can still cook, you have hot water, and I can't say enough about it. And I have a gas dryer. I absolutely love it all. I mean, it works very, very well. So there's your commercial. Well, yeah, Springfield Gas, and we certainly appreciate that too. You're very welcome. But I'm a big fan of it. And I had no idea, but I do think it's very interesting that so many people don't even know they have access. So this is a question that my husband had, and this comes from his contracting days. I mean, he's like,
how are they going to handle these 3,000 new rooftops or whatever? Because when Ryan Martin's in here, we talk a lot about the expansion of Springfield is his, forte. And then, of course, when Mayor Vogel's in here, he talks about the Robertson County end of it. But, I mean, we're booming. I mean, we are growing like crazy.
It's coming.
So are we ready for it from the Springfield gas perspective?
So I'll approach that in two. There's kind of two different facets of that. One is the money.
Okay.
Obviously, you got to have money to do things, to build infrastructure, things of that sort. Those conversations happen fairly regularly through the budget process, talking about what we need and how much we might need and trying to project out. Right now it's 3 years. Like we're looking out 3 years ahead.
Okay.
The other thing that the kind of facet to that is, do you have enough gas? So we actually have an organization. It was actually started by Springfield. I'm on their board of directors now.
Okay.
Called Tennessee Energy Acquisition Corporation.
Mm-hmm.
That was started back in the 90s through kind of a joint venture between the city of Clarksville and the city of Springfield. And kind of what they do is they buy gas at reduced prices for us.
Right.
So over the course of the last couple of years, they've saved the city a lot of money, because what happens is you pool resources with other cities and towns, and you get, you buy more, you get a better price.
Mm-hmm.
So I've already started having discussions with those guys and gals and saying, hey, this is what we have coming. This is this subdivision A, this subdivision B, C, whatever. And to prepare for, you're going to have to buy more gas for us. Mm-hmm. Now, do we know exactly how much? Do we know exactly when? Those things hadn't really been decided yet, because, some of these developments are still in the early stages, but it's really twofold. Money's one thing. If we run out of gas, we all got a lot bigger problems than the money.
Oh yeah.
But that's kind of how we approach it. And then as we're doing work out in the county and doing different things, for example, I'll give you a quick example. Not too long ago, they finished Batson Parkway. It's down the south side of town.
Right.
We had a project that we're doing now. We're hope to finish up either by the end of this week or sometime next week, that will make a connection between kind of 41 over to kind of where Bluebird is. And what that does is that gets more gas on the south side of town. So is that a direct result of the growth? Not really, but it's certainly going to help because it helps to bring more gas along that kind of south corridor. So there's things that we can do and we do during the year to kind of help boost the system. Because what you don't want just a bunch of, if you kind of picture it like a spider web, you don't want a bunch of lines just going to nowhere. They got to tie into each other. When they don't tie into each other, you create what's called one-way feeds. And then when things happen, you lose customers, and that's what you don't want. So you got to have a lot of redundancy in the system, and there is a lot of redundancy in the system. It's a really good system. There's, again, to our point earlier, there's a lot of lines in a lot of places that people don't even know they're there.
Right.
For a reason. We don't want to, you can't tell everybody everything, but that's why they're there, to create that redundancy. Okay.
And so the big thing is, so you kind of went through the communities that have access. So you said, kind of go through them again. Because of course, Springfield City, if you're, even though, would you say somebody that has a Springfield City address would be available?
The vast majority of all of them would, yeah.
Okay.
There are spots that don't, but they're few and far between.
So if you have Springfield City on your address and you're not sure if you have gas, you probably do. And some of the outlying areas that you mentioned that really surprised me, go through them again.
Yeah, so if you look at Robertson County, you're kind of sandwiched. Springfield's kind of sandwiched between 24 and 65.
Right.
We're from 24 to 65. So we're all the way down to Coopertown.
Okay.
And then, of course, on the east side, you've got Cross Plains and Orlando.
Right.
To the south, there's a good part, not a good part, but there's parts of Greenbrier that we cover.
Okay.
And of course, we don't go as far north as we do south, but that's something we're looking at as well, because
Okay.
we're looking at these kind of undeveloped parts of the county that we need to get to.
That are going to be developed.
Yeah.
Because it's all coming.
Yeah.
So so what would happen? Because I teach at Greenbrier. So what would happen for those that are not in part of your coverage in Greenbrier? Is there another company that they would tap into?
Yeah,
Would that be Davidson?
Part of Greenbrier, or kind of I guess Greenbrier proper per se, is Piedmont. It's a different company.
Oh, okay.
But we butt up against each other.
Never even heard of them.
And then we take off and head north, and then of course they go south. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how are we, as far as the utility, we always want to hear that it's self-sustaining.
And it is.
Right.
We have and a lot of people don't know this, but we're very self-sufficient with what we do. We do all our own work. We sometimes will contract stuff out, but the vast majority of the time we do all the work with city employees. So if you go down to Batson Parkway today, those are all our city employees that are doing that work. Mm-hmm. That accomplishes one thing. It keeps us all busy. It makes us more self-sufficient, and it's cheaper because it's much cheaper. I mean, just if you could, back to your point earlier, if you could roof your own house, it'd be a whole lot cheaper than hiring somebody, And it's the same thing in gas. If you can do that work yourself, it drives down costs. So
Okay. So, I mean, this is fascinating to me because, again, I've got some things I'm wanting to do. I'm actually, and this is one thing too, I was talking to my plumber the other day about, we've got an old water heater that it's time to be replaced, and it's a gas water heater, and we're wanting to go to the endless tankless thing,
Sure.
but it's going to require a larger pipe than what we've got. It's like, I think it's like a 1/2 inch instead of 3/4 or something like that. And so we've got to bring all that in, but I think it'll be more efficient than what we've got now, because what we've got now is, like I said, it's 25, 30 years old.
It absolutely will.
Okay.
When you get into tankless water heaters, I've never had one myself.
Mm-hmm.
They're really, really nice, especially if you have a large family. If you're a single person living in a house, it probably would not do.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
But if you've got 5 people living under one roof, you'll never run out of hot water. You won't have to stagger showers.
Yeah,
because you're worried about running out of water. They're really nice, and the technology has gotten a lot better. There were a lot of problems with them early on, many years ago, but they've worked a lot of those kinks out now. So.
Well, and it's just my husband and I now, but I just have gotten the water heater we have was like one from A.O. Smith. It was back when I was still full-time radio, and we did an ad for them, and it was a endless water supply, but it was tanked. So it would store, but then it was constantly, so you never ran out, but it was a different process. So it was it was one that was designed to maybe alleviate the problems that they were having with the endless water. Yeah. So it stored it, and it's been a great water heater, but it's leaking, and it's time to do something different.
And you save a lot of room with a tankless water heater.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah,
I want that space back.
They're not very big. You gain back a lot of space.
Because right now our utility area is just that behemoth.
Yeah.
And I just want to kind of clean that area up. So, okay, so we need to call our like I said, Trent recommended somebody to come in and put extensions in that we need.
Yeah.
So I need to make those phone calls. Yeah. So let's do.
If he has questions, he can call us. We'll help him.
Okay, and by the way, this is Benji Davis. He is the director of Springfield City Gas, and I don't think I properly introduced you. I just started talking to you, and so this is our director of our gas company here that supplies gas to this area, to my home, and cannot say enough about how efficient and how wonderful it has been. But for those who are afraid of gas, they hear about buildings blowing up and all of these things. Calm their fears, because there was a building that blew up, and I don't know, in Gallatin or something, not that long ago. It was under construction. What possibly caused that?
I don't.
Have you heard?
I don't know. I don't want to speculate. I'm not there.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, fair enough.
What I'll say is, I'm sure that they have all types of investigators looking into it, and it'll come out at some point. They'll issue some type of report. I'll say this, the gas, a lot of people don't know this, but gas is heavily regulated. we're overseen by the Tennessee Public Utility Commission. They've actually been to our office 4 times this year thus far. So they come in, they look at processes and procedures, they look at construction that we're doing, they go out on site visits with us, reviewing documents, reviewing paperwork. So, and that's not just us, that's the whole state of Tennessee, and every state is kind of, has some variation of that. But here's what I would say about safety, and I know it's on the top of everybody's mind, and everybody wants to. Everybody says safety, safety, safety. Here's what I would say to that, and I'll put a little bit different spin on it. The number one priority for us and for everybody is to keep gas in the pipeline.
Yeah,
that's the number one priority. If gas stays in the pipeline, then all those other things that sometimes crop up don't apply anymore. Because when it's in the pipeline, it's in a controlled atmosphere. And then it goes to the burner tip, it gets burned, no harm, no foul. Now, there's a bunch of ways to keep gas in the pipeline. One of those is safety. One of those is education. One of those is hiring licensed contractors. One of those is going out and visiting people that are digging to make sure that they have a Tennessee One Call ticket. So I look at it a little bit differently, because initially when anybody says anything about gas, they always say, well, safety's number one. And I agree, but I will also say to the point I said earlier, the number one priority is keeping that gas in the pipeline. Whether that gas is underground in front of your yard, whether it's in your house, if it stays in that pipeline or in that pipe, it's in a controlled atmosphere. It's doing what it's supposed to do, and you have the chance of having any issues are very few.
Okay. So, and to the contractor side of it, does my contractor need to pull a permit to change out my water heater?
That's a good question. I think if he's just changing a water heater, I don't believe so. If he's changing piping, if he's changing anything like that.
So to put in my gas line for my fireplace, they need to pull a permit.
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah. And because they're going to have to they're going to have to bring a bigger line in for this new gas, so they'll have to pull a permit for that.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And anytime any contractor that has a question about that, they can call us. We can point them. Again, we're kind of the underground guys, but we'll point them in the right direction. We'll get them up to City Hall, and there's folks up there in codes that can answer those questions.
Trent, call
100% accuracy.
And he's our county, and I mean, that's who I call, because he's in here on radio a lot, and I'll go, Trent, do I know? Do you have any? I'm always calling him for different references to different contractors and different things like that, and I'll make a phone call then, because I want to get this, I want it done right.
Yeah.
I'm that's not something I'm going to scrimp on. I want to make sure that these things are done properly.
Yeah. And that's the bottom line with anything.
Okay.
We want it done right.
Right.
We want it done right. We want it done right for the public. Again, back to what I said earlier, if it's done right and gas stays in the pipeline, there's very few issues.
And the thing is, you're going to smell it if you've got gas in your house. Yeah. It's very obvious.
So I'll give you a history lesson. Do you know why gas smells?
No. Okay.
So a lot of people don't know this. This is a true story. I won't tell you all the details. You can Google it if you want to. But gas in its natural state does not have smell. When it comes out of the ground, it has. I won't say it doesn't have smell. It doesn't have the smell it does that you smell in your house.
Smell like rotten eggs.
Yeah. So back in 1937, I think it was 1937, there was a school explosion in New London, Texas, and about 280 something folks lost their life.
Wow.
That was the trigger for gas to be odorized. We are responsible for odorizing gas. We odorize our own gas at Springfield. A lot of other places in Tennessee, it's a requirement. It's a federal requirement to do that. But what happened in that particular situation is the gas was not odorized. They were using it in the school, and there was an explosion.
Blew up the building. Wow.
And a lot of bad, a lot of people lost their lives. Now that was in 37. I'm pretty sure it was in 1937. You can Google it. You can read the story. So that was the trigger that started up until that point, gas was not odorized. So it could just be in your house and you'd be walking around and have no idea.
Okay.
And so there, again, heavily regulated we're required to odorize our own gas. We go out and take what we call sniff tests, so that to make sure that we can smell it at certain points in the system. And that's of course another one of those things to keep the gas in the pipeline.
Okay. Well, and I'll tell you, and I think some people, and I didn't realize it was another gas company in Greenbrier. Sometimes I'm driving down the road and I can smell gas. Yeah. Why is that? And I don't think that's y'all. I think that's the other company.
It's coming from somewhere. That's the thing. If you can smell it, it's coming from somewhere. Now we do get we have folks that respond to those things.
Yeah.
When we get them, if they're in our territory, we have kind of on call folks that are on call all the time, and they'll respond and investigate those. So if there's ever an issue where people are smelling it, call us. Even if you don't know if it's our territory, call anyway.
Okay.
And we'll get somebody to check it out. But yeah, if you're smelling it, it's come from somewhere.
Well, I would imagine the homeowners in that area, not the people driving down the road, are going, "Hey, smelling gas." I'm sure they're letting you know. But there's been a few times I've driven through everything, and then I kind of look around and there's some construction going on, and there's that kind of thing.
And there's certain situations where you have to purge gas.
Yeah.
During the construction process, you're what they call purging to clear the line out, to displace air that's in the line with gas. But those are done in a controlled atmosphere,
right?
In a safe manner. But yeah, I would say if you don't really see anybody doing anything, you're still smelling it.
You need to make a phone call.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. We're talking with Benji Davis. Anybody has any questions about our gas utilities here in this area? I'm a big gas customer, guys, and it is something that I was not familiar with until we moved out here to Springfield, and my husband insisted, and I'm so glad he did, because it has been super convenient. And my kids are always after me. They're like, "You need to get one of these cool new gas top stoves." I want my gas. I want it. That way I can turn it on and I have instant heat. I love it. What are we missing? Anything we're missing that you want to share with everybody?
I would just say, the one thing I'd say is if you have questions, call us. We've got a lot of experienced folks. I've only been with the city since August.
Okay.
So I had coming up on a year.
Okay.
So not that long, but spent almost 25 years in the utility industry with another gas company. So it's kind of all I've ever done.
Okay.
But there's a lot of folks that work at Springfield Gas that have a lot more experience than I do. Been there a really long time. A lot of good folks, do a lot of good work. Be happy to help anybody out.
Okay.
If they need anything or have questions, whatever the question is, if we can't help you, we'll certainly point you in the right direction.
Okay, so we didn't cover that. I just kind of assume everybody comes. There's so many people that come in here that are homegrown. Where are you from?
Originally from North Carolina. Grew up in North Carolina. Met my better half really early on. We've been together a long time, coming up on 30 years. And I was working for another gas company that kind of kept pressuring me to move to Nashville. So in 2015, we relocated here. So we've been here about 10 years.
Awesome. Well, welcome to Tennessee.
It's a good place to be.
Yes, it is.
It's a good place to be.
Very good. I'm so glad to meet you.
Very glad to be here.
Benji Davis with us, again, our director of Springfield City Gas. And guys, you just answered all my questions this morning. I appreciate it. You did.
Did the best I can.
No, you did a great job. Thank you for joining us. And if you have anything, this is one of those things I tell everybody that comes in. If you have a time, just like they reached out to me from Martin's Chapel BBQ. And because, we had Owens Chapel last week, Martin's Chapel's this week. They're like, hey, we got to do both of the barbecue. So when you have something like that you need the public to know, just reach out to me. You got my phone number now, so text me and say, hey, LaVern, we've got this going on, so we need to let the public know. And just come on in. We do this every morning.
Sounds like a plan.
Awesome. Thank you. Glad to meet you. Thank you so much, Benji. And thank you for the good advice. I need to call. We just call down to the city hall to get a codes to get a permit.
You call the codes.
Okay.
Yeah, they can point you in the right direction.
Okay. Very good. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll let you make your way out. And I'm going to do a couple of little announcements here while Brenda makes her way in. You can go. I keep talking. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Benji. God bless you. Thank you. Y'all have a great day. But as he's making his way out, a couple of reminders. Don't forget that you need to be getting your tickets for Martha's Song. This is a self-guided tour of the gardens here in the area. You can go to Martha's Song on Facebook. And you can find out all the details. It's happening on Saturday. It's a self-guided tour. You can go, like I said, even if you can only hit a couple of gardens, and I tell everybody, get your tickets whether you're sure you can go or not, because it is a donation to help out those in our community that are facing cancer. And it is anybody. I mean, it is anybody that's dealing with cancer. You can come out and you're going to be able to go to these beautiful gardens, and there's just a great list of them, and some of the pictures they've been putting up, I'll continue to share them, but it's just going to be a wonderful time, and it's a wonderful cause to help out here in our community. And again, that's at Martha's Song. So get your tickets. They're going to be in here on Thursday. We'll be talking to one of the gardens that's going to be featured. Now, we also want to talk about, and don't forget that you can go to see Little Shop of Horrors. That's going to be Friday and Saturday. They've got some shows coming up. There's just so many things coming up that we'll continue to remind you about. But right now, I want to talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. I was looking on their page, and they're going to be on Trash and Treasures this week in Cross Plains. They're going to be there with Bill Cody, and that's going to be a lot of fun. I got to ask them about details on this. I don't know what all's going on with that, but Bill Cody is from Cross Plains, and he does a Trash and Treasure thing, and so Barry and Rebecca are going to be part of it and be on the air with him there. So that's super cool. If you want to hear a little bit more about Barry and Rebecca, I'm definitely going to have to check that out. But anything that you're wanting to know about real estate, I mentioned this yesterday that I was, because of the breach of passwords this weekend on Facebook and Instagram and Apple, my techie kids sent out the family text message, change your passwords, do it now. And so we got that alert, and it made my husband and I start talking about this thing that we have seen advertised a lot, about how that you need to have title lock insurance. You need to protect your title. And it's something that, I've always heard about, but I'm like, well, is that really a thing? Because, people will say anything. And so I mentioned to Barry, I sent Barry a text and I said, do we need title lock insurance? Is that something we need to look into? And he said, you can get it for free. I was like, what? He said, on the Robertson County Register of Deeds website, they have a link, prevent property fraud by signing up for My Land Alert, which is a free service that includes free monitoring, free notification, no contract, and email privacy. It's free, guys. You don't have to buy it. And it's at mylandalert.com, mylandalert.com. So if you've been hearing about some of that stuff, that's the kind of thing that I ask my realtor, even though I'm not buying or selling property. I also had him run a property analysis so I know how much equity I've got. So if I decide to pull some equity out, that I have an opportunity to do that. But so many things that you can do when you have a good friend in the real estate community. Barry is the broker here in Springfield. Rebecca is the agent out in White House for Exit Prime Realty. They were with the Garden Gate team for many, many years, but they're all still part of the same exit team. And when Rebecca went into real estate, she said she looked at everything. What company can she be a part of that crosses every T, dots every I, and has everything she needs, and she's still with Exit all these years later. She's one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. Cannot say enough about my friends Barry and Rebecca Richards, Exit Prime Realty. They're the whole deal, everything you need. You can connect with them at sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy BUYRobertsonCounty.com, or give them a call, 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425, and please always let them know you turned sent you. All right, we had Owens Chapel last week. It's now time for Martin's Chapel barbecue. I got that message. I guess it was from your daughter-in-law that said, hey, I heard you talking about Owens Chapel. We got to talk about the Martin's Chapel. And I love these dinners. I go as often as I can. But the Martin's Chapel is the oldest one. It is. 69th annual Martin's Chapel barbecue. You're going to have to get right up on that microphone. I was having to get Mr. Davis in on that a little bit better. You got to be right on that thing. It's a good microphone, but boy, you got to be on. See how right on top of it.
Like you're eating it.
There you go. Pretty much. So 69th annual Martin's Chapel barbecue is this Saturday, and it's always the fourth Saturday in June.
Always the fourth Saturday.
What started this whole thing?
Well, I've been told that it was the Women's Society at Martin's Chapel Church that started it. They sold barbecue out of the trunk of one of them's car in 1956.
I love
and
it.
It's been going ever since.
That's fun. Did they do it for any specific thing, or was it just to raise money for the church?
Just
Kind of
raise money for the church.
There you go. Now, is that still the case? Is it for just whatever? Like, it could be missions. It could be whatever the thing is this year.
Upkeep of the church and outreach for the community.
I love it. I love it. Now, is this all you can eat?
It is. It used to be, but now it's still all you can eat. It's packed in a to-go box.
Because it's going to be more than you can eat.
It's more than you can eat.
Okay.
And that started with COVID, of course, like a lot of other things.
Okay.
But we used to do it family style at the table, and that's not as sanitary as we used to.
Okay.
We packed those to-go boxes with barbecue, slaw, cornbread, and you get a piece of homemade pie.
Okay.
And it is delicious. And a potato that everybody raves about.
Yes.
That's supposed, everybody comes for the potatoes. We buy a certain potato, red size A potato. Mid-South Produce helps us out on that.
Okay.
And they are cooked in a huge iron kettle over a fire.
Uh-huh.
We wrap them on Friday night in foil, and they cook them on Saturday.
Okay.
People come just for the potatoes.
I need to come in because we talked about that. Did you come in last time?
Last
you
year
really, and we talked about the potatoes.
Yes.
I remember now.
Yeah.
And we were talking about exactly, because I have a particular way that I make baked potatoes can be absolutely fabulous. And if you figured out how to make them, because some people just don't have a clue. They microwave them. What a waste of time.
Gosh.
What a waste of time. Don't even talk to me. But I'm particular about baking baked potatoes. And my sister-in-law up in Michigan used to run a restaurant. And she taught me to take them and boil them whole and soften them up and then cook them, not wrap them, but cook them right on the rack. And they're pretty good and crunchy and all that. But I've never tried them in a big old iron kettle.
I don't know what it is. This kettle is huge.
Mm-hmm. I have one of those. A big old witch's kettle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Does it have a lid on it? I want to see it.
Sure.
I want to see this.
It's sitting there.
I want to see
When
it.
you come on Saturday, because they cook all day. And
Interesting.
there's a trick, too, that you have to add vinegar to the water to keep that foil from turning black.
Okay. So they're in a, I'm so sorry. Hang on.
I thought mine would do that.
Why in the world would Lee Marie be calling me on the air, Lee Marie, darling? I don't know what's going on. She's texted me something about the microphone. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. No, the microphone's fine. I've got it. It's coming through the board. I don't know why she called me. I think maybe it was an accident.
Okay.
But that's why I had you sit right up on top of it. Yeah. She had texted me that the mics didn't, the guest mics didn't sound like they were turned all the way up. They are, and they are coming through the board. So I don't know. But anyway, we're good.
Usually nobody tells me they can't hear me.
Well, there you go. Me too. But nonetheless, I think we're fine. But let me just make sure that I lost my train of thought. So we're talking about the potatoes. So you take them, you wrap them, and they're in water? Mm-hmm. Really?
Well, we wrap them on Friday night.
Okay.
And they're,
and so they're
bags,
and they're cooked in the water.
Yeah. On Saturday.
Okay, because I was trying to figure out how you did that, because I was like, okay, that doesn't. I'm seeing, and I've had them.
I can't remember if there's a top on that kettle or not.
I've had them, but man, we're going to try our best to get out there Saturday. 4 to 8 p.m. Mm-hmm. And I love barbecue. I'm a hog farmer's daughter. I grew up on barbecue, and so I know good barbecue. And this is always good barbecue. But I'm more curious about the potatoes now. Isn't that funny?
It's amazing. On Friday morning, we feed all the guys that cook all day and all night.
Yeah.
We feed them on Friday morning, and then they go pick up the meat. It's 2,300 pounds this year of meat that we go to GFS, whole shoulders, fresh. Yeah. They come back, put it on the pit. Yeah. And they're there all day.
Yes.
Up until like 2 or 3 o'clock on Saturday morning.
Oh, yes.
And then it has to cool down. Everybody comes and pulls that meat off at 7 o'clock on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
So it's amazing
Pulling pork is something. If you've never pulled pork, you just don't know what you're missing. It's a camaraderie, sitting around the table, and
You hear a lot of stories.
you do. I've pulled a lot in my life, and that's so funny. I was telling them last week when the Owens Chapel folks were in that I take credit for teaching my northern family about pulling pork because my brother-in-law does a fabulous job. He does like sausages and all kinds of stuff, but he likes to roast pig, and we were up there for a fair or something, and I walked up and they were taking their little knives and they were cutting into the pig. And I was like, what are y'all doing? Well, we got to get the meat off the bone. And I was like, I put some gloves on. I just started digging in and then chopping it, and they're like, okay. I said, that's the reason we call it pulled pork in the South. And, but it was so funny. And, I love teasing him. I'm like, I taught you how to pull pork, honey.
I married into this
Yeah.
family in church.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
The first year I was there, you pull it off.
Yeah, you get your hands in.
You got to get your hands in there. You got the gloves on, but then when you get it down to the skin, you got to squeeze the grease out of the skin, and that's really gross.
Yeah, it's just part of it. It's part of it, honey.
You don't want it to be dry.
No, you don't. But that's hysterical, and I love it. It's just it's a rite of passage for me, teaching everybody how to pull pork. But
This is a small
good stuff.
congregation that feeds like 1,000 people.
How long does it take y'all to pull all that?
You'd be surprised. Usually in 2 hours we're done.
Well,
in the cookers.
Yeah, if you've got enough people there, you definitely can get it done. But it is a job.
It is a job.
We used to do it when we had our roofing company for about 10 years. We would do the Cardinal Roofing cookout. We had a Cardinal cookout, and we did barbecue, and I would different pits around town would cook it for me, and I would have them bring it in whole shoulder, and I would pull it for all those people, and it was a lot. But it's a job when you're feeding a whole lot of folks.
It is a job.
So I love it. So again, let's kind of go through. Now you've because of COVID, y'all started doing the drive-through plates.
Yes.
That's what started that.
And that is huge now because we feed as many in the drive-through line as we do that come and eat under the shed. You can sit down and eat under the shed
If you want.
And it's great fellowship.
Sure.
Everybody enjoys talking, but last year we fed as many drive-through as we did under the shed.
Okay.
And if you drive through, you don't even get out of your car.
Awesome.
We got people who come to your car. How many you need? They bring your plates to the car.
Because that's what I'm hoping because we have got a full slate of stuff on Saturday. Yeah. I mean, I was just talking, we've got the garden tour, the Martha Songs garden tour is going on, and I forget the hours of that. But
I hate that's the same day because I'd love to go to that.
Well, yeah, and I'm going to go to parts of it, but I've got also a conference. There is a conference that we're going to that is going to be up in Cross Plains, and let me mention this. I mean, that's in the morning though. This is so doable around this. It's the Encounter Wholehearted Men and Women's Weekend Conference. It's Friday and Saturday night. If you want to get tickets to that, you can still do that. It's again Friday and Saturday, but it ends about the time your stuff begins.
Good.
So that's
Come get
good.
a plate.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm hoping is, and we're going to probably not be at that all day because I've got to go to some of the garden stuff too. There's a couple of the gardens I want to see, and so we've just got a full day. And there's baseball going on too, of course, but we're going to miss baseball. I've already told them, I said we can't be there Saturday. We've just got too much stuff going on locally that we want to tap into, and but this is one that I want to try to get by there and get a plate. Just because, and I don't know that we can stay, but at least get a plate and drive through.
Don't let the rain or the heat hold you back.
Do we have rain in the forecast on that day? I don't know.
This morning there's 40%.
Yeah, but still.
91.
Yeah.
It'll change.
It'll change, exactly. It's just that time of year.
Just don't let that hold you back.
Yeah, and I mean, those pop-up showers can kind of cool you down sometimes. So you've got a shed there. You'll be just fine. So I'm sure that you guys, do y'all usually sell out, don't you?
We hope not, but we get close. Last year we had about 300 pounds left.
Okay.
Of barbecue.
So what do y'all do? Just sell it to the congregation?
Just like that.
Yeah.
There's people that always know what's left they can come get. It's $10 a pound.
Okay.
That day and after.
So you can come in and buy just a pound of barbecue.
Yes, you can. At the pit or at the drive-thru.
Okay.
You can buy by the pound.
Okay. Because I wasn't sure that you didn't have that. And it was like after the fact.
$10 a pound that day.
$10 a pound that day. Outstanding.
Pack it in the little clear containers.
Yeah.
And yep, $10 a pound.
Oh, I can't beat it. It's barbecue time, y'all. It's barbecue time in Tennessee. So,
we have people that plan their vacations around coming in for the barbecue.
That's hysterical.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's an amazing event.
I love it. I love it. That's a lot of fun. Yeah. But is there any like fun stories? We've got plenty of time here. We got about 15 minutes here. But is there any like fun stories or anything you remember from Barbecue Pascas? Now, how long have you been involved?
Since 75.
Since 75.
Yeah,
okay.
For a while.
So have you ever had any famous people come by, like country music? I mean, because we're near Nashville, y'all. There's all kinds of people that live around here.
Do you ever remember Jerry Thompson, who wrote in the Tennessean? He had
Yeah.
He's a neighbor of our church.
Oh, fun.
And he would write about us. He had several columns about us. And while he was living and writing about us, we got up to 1,300 people. Because people
funny.
would come out of Nashville and
to come and do
continue to come, and but yeah.
That's back when we had a thing called a newspaper. We'd still do. It's the connection. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. That's funny. But yes, I absolutely remember him.
And the little clubhouse was a one-room schoolhouse.
Okay.
So that's where that started.
Okay.
So most of those people are gone now, but went to school there.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first started there, we just got a tent and put in front of the clubhouse. Well, it would rain. I remember one year it came a gully washer. The tent was caving in, and I remember a gentleman sitting there, and he never quit eating. The tent was caving in on him, and he never stopped.
Oh, that's hysterical. That is absolutely hysterical.
I guess that's a testament to how good the barbecue is.
It's like, I'm not leaving this.
No.
That's so funny. I love that.
Then in years to come, we built the shed.
Okay.
So you got concrete floor and a roof over your head.
A little bit, so that way you don't have to worry about the issue of the rain coming in. You can sit there and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, but
and the pit has evolved over the years too. Now you can see it when you come out. It's across the road, big long pit where we cook.
So is it literally in the ground or is it above the ground?
It's above ground.
It's above ground
because concrete block.
I was telling them last week. I'm from the country. Have you ever heard the song? Who's married to Faith Hill? Tim McGraw. Yeah. Tim McGraw has that country boys and girls getting down on the farm. That I have memories. At least a couple of different times that we had parties out in the field after the corn was picked or whatever, and they dug a pit and roasted a pig in the pit, and then they brought it up and put it out on the flatbed. And, and I mean, that's country boys and girls getting down on the farm. And that was in high school. And, of course, a lot of other things went on there too. We won't talk about that. But anyway, it's just, pit barbecue, that's where it came from. They used to do that in the pit. Not too many people I know that actually in a pit, do their barbecue anymore.
Don't they pull it in the skin of the whole hog?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, I've had to pull whole hogs before. But, I mean, that's just, as my family, we were hog producers whenever I was growing up. So, I mean, it was a very big thing. But the pit barbecue, that's where it comes from. They actually, and I don't really know the structure of how they did it. I'm trying to, but they would put it down in the ground and put the fire around it. I don't know how they did it. But I just can't remember. I would love for somebody that knows how they did that to explain it to me, because I really remember them digging these holes and doing that, but I didn't know how it was. My brother could probably school me on it, but
this picture that's behind there.
That's cool.
Yeah, because that's the
I just noticed
shoulders when they put them on. There'll be 126 of them this year.
Oh, that's great.
Lined up down that pit.
That's awesome. And I mean, I didn't even realize that was the picture until you pointed it out, but that's them roasting it.
And it's an amazing process when it's like the guys get in there and they rip those boxes open and they salt them down and throw them on the pit, and they line them up, leave a little bit of space in the very center because that's where it's hardest to get the fire. Yeah. But it's pretty cool.
I love it.
From that picture.
That's really cool. I need to come out and watch them do this. I just, again, it's a lost art if you don't really know how to properly do barbecue.
That happens at 10 o'clock Friday morning when they throw it on the pit.
Okay. I need to go. I'd love to go by there. I may have to run by there and just kind of take a peek and see what they're doing, because I would like to be able to do some of this myself, because it's such a it's such a thing. I would love to do a small pit because I've got some property. That would be kind of a fun thing to have, to where you could actually roast or do an abundance so you can feed more people, and that would be a lot of fun. But we're talking about the Martin's Chapel 69th annual Martin's Chapel barbecue. It is this Saturday. It's always the fourth Saturday in June, and this can sometimes be a political event, but we don't have a political year, because people, if they're politicians, they'll be popping by there. Mm-hmm. I think that's probably when I was on the campaign trail when I first discovered these things, because going to the barbecues when I was campaigning, you had to hit all the pancake breakfast and the barbecues and all that kind of thing, and that was one of the best things about being in that season of life, is I discovered things I didn't know about my community, and it was so much fun.
You plan around whether it's a political year or not.
Oh, how funny.
How much you cook.
Oh, yeah, because you're going to have to, how much more would you cook if it was a political year?
200 or 300 pounds more.
More, because you're going to have just more people to show up. Okay, I hadn't even thought about that. But did Governor Lee come to y'all's whenever he was campaigning? Really? Mm-mm. I'm surprised, because I tease her, I got to know him on the campaign trail, because that was his first. I
remember him coming.
Because I feel like I'm sure, because
Dr.
there was
Kumar's always there.
Yeah, and I know does Kerry show up some? Yes. Kerry Roberts, as much as he can. Mm-hmm. People forget Sabi's territory is Robertson County. Kerry's is like 6 counties or 4, I don't know how many counties, but he's got a district. And so if this is on the same day that something's up in Dixon, he can't be everywhere. And so that's something that I think a lot of people, they're like, well, why didn't Kerry come? That's why, is because he has to spread himself between, in a much larger area. Because when I was running for the congressional district, because I ran for the Congress up in Washington. And so I don't know what I was thinking, but I did. I didn't have enough money, but I felt very led by the Lord to do it. But that district was up in the Upper Cumberland. I mean, it was massive. Wow. Massive. And to this day, my husband's like, if we'd focused on Sumner and Robertson County, we might have won that thing. And I think he's probably right, but you hate to leave people out, because that's where the population is. And, but we just didn't have enough money to compete, but that's beside the point. Some of these districts are vast. They are huge. Of course, now we've been redistricted, and we're part of the one that Dr. Green's, he has quit though, didn't he? I don't stay involved with politics anymore. You can tell at all. And I vote when I'm supposed to vote, and I pay attention when it's my responsibility. But what are we missing? Anything else? I'm getting off on the political thing, and it's like,
I just want to be sure everybody knows to come out Saturday 4 to 8, and hope that we can show God's love in some way to everybody that comes. And it's really amazing, this little congregation that pulls off an event like this, and it's like, it's not just the church, it's the community. Yeah. And you start planning, and you think, it's everybody just jumps in and does their job that they've done every year. Yeah. Year in, year out, and knows what they got to do. Yeah.
Well, and it's so funny when you mention the community. So you have people that are not part of the church that come in and help with this? Mm-hmm. Okay. Because you say homemade pies. Who all makes pies for this?
Everybody in the church and community.
Okay.
There's people outside of the church that help.
So do you have some of the pies that are more popular than others? Like Miss Emma's, apple pie, I want that one. Do you have that kind of thing going on?
Yes.
You can't say. She can't say, because she knows it'll start a ruckus.
Well, and you try to,
so I'm just teasing.
Yeah, you try to limit the pies to maybe chocolate chess and pecan, because otherwise they're going to stand there and look forever for Aunt Emma's apple pie,
Okay.
But
so you typically have chocolate
chess and pecan.
Chess and pecan.
And cupcakes for the kids.
Okay.
And ice cream. We have a soft serve ice cream.
Okay. Oh.
That the kids and adults love.
Yeah.
So
there you go. Yeah. Chocolate, chess, and pecan. I love that, because I was saying
a lot of others too.
Yeah, they do, but that's kind of your focus.
Well, it's so hot, you can't get off to the meringue pies. So
No, they won't hold up.
No.
See, I'm a coconut pie person. If you have mastered the I've always tried to just get it perfect, and I'm just not there yet. But that's my favorite. Absolutely, it was my mama's and my sisters. All three of us, that's what we liked, and I'm the only one around now. But I tried a couple of times to really get it really good for Mom, and so I've kind of set that aside. But so I love to talk to people who really know how to do old school pie and do it very well, and that's always a lot of fun. But my pecan, absolutely, that's another
that's my
favorite.
husband's favorite.
Yeah. So, do you have one that you make that
Chocolate chess.
chocolate chess? Oh, chocolate
I
chess.
can make them with my eyes shut.
So, we've got a minute. Is it a secret recipe, or do you want to share it? Share us your recipe, because here's how you make chocolate chess pie.
I can't tell you the exact thing.
Come on. Do you make your own crust, or do you buy crust?
I buy crust.
Yeah, I mean,
Not
come
that
on, people.
good. I mean,
Well, it's like, have you ever heard of pasties from up north?
no.
Okay, my husband is from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, not Michigan. We're talking the upper part,
Hey.
just south of Lake Superior. So the thing up there, instead of barbecue shacks, they have pasty shacks. Okay, they have just like we have barbecue down here. They have pasties, and what they are, it's like a meat pocket thing that you have. You have like a pie shell, and you put in beef and potatoes and onions. Some people put rutabaga, and then over the years, people have put all kinds of things in them. But the traditional pasty is beef, potato, and onions, and maybe rutabaga. And you put that in there, and you bake it in the oven after you wrap it in the pie dough. And the reason why they became popular, it was something that there's a lot of mines there. And so the men could take those into the mines, and it was a hearty, something that was self-contained. It was easy and convenient for them to eat down in the mines. Oh, wow. That's how they started them. So whenever I was taught to make pasties, I was taught how to make the pie dough.
Oh.
And I very quickly had to adapt. And I get the roll out things, like they have Pillsbury, the little roll out doughs. That's what I use. So they tell me I cheat, but I'm sorry. I'm just not very good at making pie dough.
Yeah.
I've never been very good at making homemade pie dough. But so that's wonderful. So you get that. So what's the ingredients in a chocolate chess then?
Evaporated milk, cocoa, sugar. You can put me on the spot.
So, because you're just used to doing it, you have to. Yeah, you don't think about it. Do you have to
Sugar, butter,
sugar and butter? Do you have to pre-bake the shell, or do you bake the shell? Okay, it all bakes together.
It's super
okay.
easy. Sugar, butter, evaporated milk, cocoa. Yeah, that's about it. It's
Okay.
easy. Yeah.
It's super easy. Chess pie is just. Had you ever heard and we just got a couple of minutes. Have you ever heard the story that goes that Abraham Lincoln was traveling this area, or in the Tennessee area? He was going around when he was campaigning, and back in that day, some people would just show up at your door and you'd feed them and give them shelter, because there weren't hotels or anything like that. There weren't accommodations, and the story goes that the president showed up in some area and just needed shelter for the night, and it was when he was president, and he knocked on some farmer's door. And they weren't prepared, and she just whipped something together, and it was a chess pie. And they're like, well, this is the best pie I've ever had. What in the world do you call it? And she says, it's just pie. And it became known as chess pie, because she was saying, it's just pie, Mr. President. And I don't know how true that is. You can Google it. Like Mr. Davis was telling us earlier, the things you can Google, but you can Google it. And my friend told me that story, and I have no idea if it's true or not, but I thought it was kind of funny. Do what?
You ever made buttermilk pie?
I have not, but is it similar?
It's just like chess pie.
Is it now?
And if you don't tell somebody that it's buttermilk pie, it's just chess pie.
It's just pie.
Yeah.
It's just pie, just chess pie, but chocolate chess pie. That's good stuff.
It is
That's
good
the
stuff.
best. Butter and sugar. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. That's just it. I love it. Yeah. Brenda, I'm so glad to have you here. Brenda, right?
Thank you, Brenda.
I don't think I was just like, Brenda, what's your last name?
Wilson.
Well, I'm a Wilson.
At Martin's Chapel, probably half are Wilson. So
see, I am a Wilson from West Kentucky.
Okay.
So that's my maiden name, and we didn't cover all that. So I just didn't properly introduce you. Brenda Wilson with Martin's Chapel Barbecue, the 69th annual Martin's Chapel Barbecue. It is this Saturday, always the fourth Saturday in June.
Come see us.
4 to 8 p.m., $15 a plate. You can drive through or you can dine under the shed. You got barbecue coleslaw, cornbread, legendary red potatoes, and pie, as we've been talking about. And again, $10 for a pound if you want to buy it that day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brenda. I'm so glad to talk with you again, and y'all remind me next year so I don't forget.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for joining us. Tomorrow's the day for our Veteran Service Office. So I'm not sure who's coming in from the Veteran Service Office, but we'll be hearing from them tomorrow right here on 1100 WSGI. God bless you. Have a fabulous, fabulous day. This is, again, 1100 WSGI.